Terrence Howard being on Joe Rogan's podcast is something that I could never imagine, even in my farthest memories. The man literally kicks off the episode by saying, I remember floating around in my mother's womb and Millie rocking around my mother's womb. Like, how do you even remember that?
You're dreaming and you're falling and you hit the bottom and you wake up. That was my first memory, but I didn't wake up here. I was inside my mother's womb. And I was about maybe 6 months inside the womb.
It was at that point that I realized, no, Terrence Howard wasn't connected through an umbilical cord. He was connected straight through a USB cable. Because there's no other way. How do you transmit this much information like that? The things that he goes on to talk about in this podcast later on are just crazy. One thing that I did hate about this episode is it made me realize that I spent years of my high school life trying to figure out the periodic table of elements and scram it through my tiny little brain at the time, only for a Hollywood actor like Terrence Howard, of all people, to sit on a leather chair and convince us that no, the periodic table is actually not supposed to be like that.
Hell no.
The periodic table is supposed to be like this. It's supposed to be round. Shut up! And he's basically sitting there having the audacity to call out Einstein. Maybe because his beef with Robert Downey Jr. wasn't enough. Yeah, he was in Iron Man alongside Robert Downey Jr., who was playing Tony Stark. And he was pissed off by the fact that, you know, he wasn't earning as much, even though he played a smaller role. So I don't really get what that means. Despite casually rewriting the laws of physics in one sitting on a random Joe Rogan episode, this man made me realize that there's absolutely nothing he can't do. From playing a role in the Iron Man to playing as Cookie's Milk in Empire. Empire viewers will get what I mean. But this man is just insane. He's going on a generational run. And Joe Rogan's just looking there all confused. Like while Terrence Howard is literally pumping an empire worth of knowledge through that thick, Vaseline, shiny head of Joe Rogan's. You could tell Joe Rogan absolutely has no idea what's going on. He made Joe Rogan feel like a guest on his own podcast. That was insane.